Commander Jack Murphy looked out the viewport of the Earth Defense Fleet ship Challenger. The stars were bright against the black emptiness of space. Earth was now just a small blue dot in the distance. His ship had been sent to investigate a strange signal at the edge of the solar system, beyond the orbit of Pluto. "Anything new on the scanners, Olivia?" Jack asked. Science Officer Olivia Wright tapped on her screen and shook her head. "Nothing yet, Commander. But the signal is getting stronger. Whatever it is, we're getting closer." The year was 2157. Humans had established permanent colonies on Mars and were beginning to explore deeper into space. The Challenger was one of Earth's newest ships, built to venture further than any human vessel before. "Wait," Olivia said suddenly. "I'm picking up something big. Very big." Jack leaned forward. "Show me." The main screen lit up with an image that made everyone on the bridge stop and stare. A massive ship, unlike anything humans had ever built, was floating in space ahead of them. Its surface gleamed with strange lights and materials not found on Earth. "First contact," Jack whispered. "Send the greeting message on all frequencies." Communications Officer Eric Barnes nodded. "Sending now, sir." The bridge crew waited in tense silence. Humanity had long prepared for this moment. The message contained basic math, images of humans, and peaceful greetings in multiple languages. "Commander, they're responding," Eric said excitedly. But before they could receive the message, 3 smaller ships appeared from behind the large vessel. They moved with incredible speed toward the Challenger. "Sir, they're powering up weapons systems," Security Officer Lisa Young shouted. Jack stood up straight. "That can't be right. Raise shields. Send another message. Make it clear we mean no harm." The alien vessels didn't slow down. A bright beam of energy shot from the lead ship, hitting the Challenger hard. The ship shook, and warning lights flashed across the bridge. "Shields at 60%, Lissa reported. "Return fire?" asked Weapons Officer Ben Garcia. Jack hesitated. First contact turning violent was humanity's worst fear. "No. Try to retreat. Get us out of here. Keep broadcasting peace messages." Another blast hit them, stronger than the first. "Shields at 30%. Lisa called out. "We can't take another hit like that." A voice suddenly came through their communication system. It spoke in perfect English, the tone cold and formal. "Attention, human vessel. You are in violation of Galactic Council territorial boundaries. Your species has not been approved for space travel beyond your inner system. Submit to boarding and evaluation immediately." Jack frowned. "This is Commander Jack Murphy of Earth. We were unaware of any territorial claims in our system. We come in peace and wish to establish diplomatic relations." There was a pause before the voice replied. "Your species has been classified as pre-evaluation. You have no rights under galactic law. Submit now or be destroyed." Jack looked at his crew's worried faces. "We are a sovereign species. We do not recognize your authority to restrict our movement in our own solar system." The alien ships moved to surround them. "Final warning, human vessel. Submit or be destroyed." Jack made a quick decision. "Full power to engines. Get us out of here." The Challenger turned and accelerated away at its maximum speed. The alien ships fired again, but the Challenger managed to dodge most of the blasts. "Plot a course back to Earth," Jack ordered. "We need to warn them." As they fled, a final message came through. "The Galactic Council has made its decision. Earth will submit or face consequences. This encounter has been logged. Enforcement measures will follow." The Challenger limped back toward Earth, damaged but not defeated. Jack looked at his crew with determination in his eyes. "We need to prepare," he said. "Earth needs to know what we're facing." Nobody spoke as the reality sank in. Humans were not alone in the universe, but their first neighbors were not friendly. The stars outside suddenly seemed less beautiful and more threatening. Earth was in danger, and everything was about to change. The room was silent as Commander Jack Murphy finished telling what happened at the edge of the solar system. Around the large table sat the highest leaders of Earth, military commanders, government officials, and scientists. Their faces showed worry and fear. "So they just attacked without real warning?" asked President Linda Howard, her voice tight. Jack nodded. "Yes, Madam President. They called us a pre-evaluation species with no rights." Admiral Susan Miller stood up, her gray uniform crisp and neat. "Madam President, I have information that makes this situation even worse." She touched a screen, and images appeared on the wall. "Our deep space monitors have picked up signals for years that we couldn't explain. Now we know. The Galactic Council has been watching us for decades." Gasps filled the room. "They know our strengths, our weaknesses, and exactly how to hurt us," Susan continued. "And based on the damage to the Challenger, their weapons are far beyond ours." President Howard looked around the table. Options. Defense Secretary Alan Peterson cleared his throat. "We could try to negotiate. Maybe they'll listen to reason. Or maybe they'll see it as weakness." General Richard Davis countered. "We should prepare for war immediately." After hours of debate, they decided to try both approaches. Earth would prepare for war while attempting peaceful negotiations. Ambassador William Carter was chosen to lead the diplomatic team. His ship left Earth under a flag of peace, heading to coordinates provided by the Galactic Council. 1 week later, William stood in a massive chamber on a council space station. Beings of different shapes and sizes sat in raised seats around him. Some looked almost human, while others were completely alien, with multiple limbs, strange skin colors, or no visible eyes. In the center was Thorval, the council representative. He looked almost like a tall human, except for his blue skin and 4 arms. "The council recognizes the human delegate," Thorval said, his voice echoing. William stepped forward. "Thank you for agreeing to this meeting. Earth wishes to resolve this misunderstanding peacefully." Thorval made a sound like laughter. "There is no misunderstanding, human. Your species has been evaluated and found wanting." "On what grounds?" William asked. "Your history is full of violence. You fight among yourselves constantly. You destroy your own planet with pollution. You are too aggressive and unpredictable to join galactic society." William frowned. "All developing species have struggles. We've made great progress in the last century. We ask for the chance to prove ourselves." Thorval's expression didn't change. "There is another factor. Your planet sits on valuable quantum resources that the Council requires. We have deliberated and reached a decision." A hush fell over the chamber. "Earth has 2 choices," Thorval continued. "Accept protected status as a mining colony, with humans relocated to approved labor zones, or resist and face extinction." William's face paled. "You're talking about enslaving our entire species." "We are talking about putting your species to proper use," Thorval corrected. "Your choice must be made within 1 Earth month. Council fleets are already moving into position." "This is not fair," William protested. "We demand equal treatment under galactic law." The alien representatives began to laugh. Thorval smiled coldly. "You misunderstand, human. You have no rights here. The Galactic Council has existed for 50,000 years. We have eliminated hundreds of species that refuse to comply. You are nothing to us." William felt cold fear in his stomach. "We will bring your terms back to Earth. But I warn you, humans do not surrender easily." "Your defiance is noted but meaningless," Thorval said. 1 month, Ambassador. Then we take what we want, with or without your cooperation." When William returned to Earth, the President called an emergency meeting. As William told them what happened, the room grew quiet with anger. "So that's it?" President Howard asked. "Become slaves or be wiped out?" William nodded grimly. "They've already decided. The negotiations were just for show." The President stood up, her face hard with determination. "Then we have no choice. If Earth is going to fall, we'll go down fighting." Around the table, heads nodded in agreement. The Galactic Council had made a terrible mistake. They had threatened the wrong species. Colonel Ethan Hayes stood in the large underground war room, staring at the holographic display of the alien ship designs. For 2 weeks, he had barely slept, studying every detail of the Council ships from the data that Commander Murphy's vessel had collected. "There," he said, pointing to a spot near the engines of the largest ship model. "All their vessels have this same pattern. The shield energy flows from front to back, but it's weakest at this junction point." Around him, Earth's top military leaders nodded. Time was running out. The Council's deadline was only 2 weeks away. "Can we exploit that weakness?" asked General Sandra Lopes. Ethan nodded. "Maybe. But we need better weapons first." In another part of the complex, Dr. Eleanor Price was making an important discovery. She had been comparing Earth's quantum technology with what little they knew of the Council's tech. "This doesn't make sense," she muttered, rechecking her calculations. Her assistant, Joe Kelly, looked up. "What is it?" Eleanor pointed to her screen. "Their quantum communication system. It's actually less advanced than ours in some ways. They've been in space for thousands of years, but our approach to quantum physics is different." "Different how?" Joe asked. "More efficient," Eleanor said, excitement growing in her voice. "Their tech is old and established. Ours is new and innovative. We might be able to use that." She grabbed her tablet and rushed toward the command center. This could change everything. Meanwhile, far from Earth, Special Forces Major Daniel Ross and his team floated in space near a small Council patrol ship. Their own vessel was hidden behind an asteroid. "Remember the plan," Daniel whispered into his comm. "Quick and quiet. We need their ship intact and their computer systems working." His 5 team members signaled their understanding. They had trained for this mission for days. It was risky, but Earth needed more information about Council technology. They pushed off from their hiding spot, using small thrusters to move toward the alien ship. Their new stealth suits, designed to absorb radar and light, made them nearly invisible against the blackness of space. The alien ship never saw them coming. Within minutes, they had attached to the hull, cut through an access panel, and entered the vessel. The 6 Council crew members, caught by surprise, were quickly subdued. "Download everything," Daniel ordered as his team connected devices to the alien computers. "We need every bit of data we can get." Back on Earth, nations that had once been enemies were now working together against a common threat. Russian, American, Chinese, and European scientists shared labs. Middle Eastern and Western soldiers trained side by side. In a facility in Japan, engineer Catherine Chen made a breakthrough while studying a piece of Council weapon technology recovered from the damaged Challenger. "The energy signature," she said to her team. "We can match it and reverse it." Her colleague, Dr. Steve Miller, looked confused. "Reverse it? What do you mean?" Catherine smiled. "Their weapons create a specific energy pattern. If we generate the exact opposite pattern, we can create a shield that absorbs their attacks instead of just blocking them." As these discoveries were shared, Earth's leaders gathered to review their progress. "We're not ready for a direct confrontation," Admiral Susan Miller explained, "but we're learning fast. We need more time." President Howard nodded. "Then we'll give them what they expect. A message of compliance." "You mean surrender?" someone asked, shocked. "No," the president said firmly. "I mean deception. We'll tell them we're considering their terms, ask for clarifications, request more time. Meanwhile, we prepare." The message was sent to the Galactic Council the next day. Earth appeared to be bending to the Council's will, asking only for more details about the relocation process and labor requirements. As the Council representatives smugly discussed the humans' apparent submission, they had no idea what was really happening. All across Earth and throughout the solar system, humanity was preparing for war. Not just any war, a war for survival. and they were finding new ways to fight. The Council ships appeared near Jupiter exactly 1 month after their ultimatum. A fleet of 30 vessels moved slowly toward Earth, their weapons ready. They expected no resistance. They were wrong. Fleet Admiral Paul Jackson watched from the bridge of the Earth flagship Defender as the enemy approached. Around him, 50 Earth ships waited in hiding among Jupiter's moons. They were outnumbered, but surprise was on their side. All ships maintained position. Paul ordered quietly, "Wait for my signal." The Council fleet moved closer, unaware of the trap. Their communication channels were filled with confident chatter about how easy this mission would be. Now, Paul ordered when the alien fleet reached the perfect position. Earth ships emerged from their hiding places, surrounding the surprised Council fleet. Before the aliens could react, the human vessels fired their new weapons. The Council ships tried to raise their shields, but Catherine Chen's new technology worked perfectly. The shields absorbed the Council's energy and grew stronger with each hit. "All squadrons, attack pattern Delta," Paul commanded. Major Lisa Bennett led her fighter squadron toward the enemy ships. Her pilots were flying new craft built using the knowledge gained from the captured Council vessel. "Target their engine junction points," Lisa reminded her team. "Remember Colonel Hayes' briefing." The small, fast Earth fighters zoomed between the larger alien vessels. They fired precision weapons at the weak spots in the Council ship's shields. 3 Council ships exploded before they even understood what was happening. The Council commander's voice boomed across all channels. "This is impossible. You cannot have this technology. Submit now or be destroyed." Paul smiled grimly. "This is Earth Defense Fleet. We reject your terms. We will defend our home." The battle raged for hours around Jupiter. Council ships, designed for intimidation and not actual combat, struggled against the surprisingly effective Earth vessels. The Council's rigid battle plans failed against Admiral Gregory White's unpredictable guerrilla tactics. "They're retreating," someone shouted as the remaining Council ships began to pull back. Of the 30 Council vessels that had arrived, only 17 remained. They gathered together and jumped away into faster-than-light travel. Cheers erupted across the Earth fleet. They had won the first battle. But the celebration was short-lived. A message came through on all channels, sent from the retreating Council commander. "This minor victory means nothing, humans. You have merely faced our occupation force. The main battle fleet is already on its way. Your planet will be dust within days." Paul ordered his ships to return to Earth orbit. They had suffered losses too. 8 ships destroyed and many damaged. But the victory had proven that humans could fight back. Earth leaders gathered to discuss what came next. "The new shield technology worked," Catherine Chen reported. "But the Council now knows about it. They'll adapt." "Can we improve it?" President Howard asked. Catherine nodded. "Yes, but we need time." "Time we don't have," said Admiral Susan Miller. "Intelligence suggests their main fleet could arrive within a week. Hundreds of ships, not just 30. Colonel Ethan Hayes stood up. "We need to take the fight to them. Hit their supply lines, attack their outposts. Make them divide their forces." The meeting continued late into the night. Plans were made, strategies developed. Earth would not wait passively for the next attack. As the leaders left the meeting, Admiral Paul Jackson stayed behind with President Howard. "Be honest with me, Paul," she said quietly. "Can we win this?" Paul thought for a moment before answering. "They're stronger. They have more ships and more advanced technology. But they're overconfident and rigid in their thinking. We're creative and fighting for our survival." He smiled slightly. "In my experience, never bet against desperate humans." The president nodded. "Prepare your fleets, Admiral. The real war is just beginning." Outside the window, Earth glowed blue and beautiful against the blackness of space. All across the planet, factories worked day and night producing weapons and ships. In labs and research facilities, scientists improved their designs. Earth was preparing for the fight of its life. But the Galactic Council had no idea what they had started. or what humans were capable of when pushed too far. Lieutenant Maria Diaz stood watch at the Mars Colony Defense Station. The Red Planet had been home to over 100,000 humans for nearly 2 decades. The colony's large domes gleamed in the sunlight, housing farms, living quarters, and research facilities. Maria checked the long-range scanners again. The Earth fleet had defeated the Council at Jupiter 3 days ago, but everyone knew the aliens would return with more ships. "Lieutenant, I'm picking up multiple objects entering orbit," called out Sergeant Chris Evans from the sensor station. His voice was tense. Maria rushed to his side. The screen showed at least 50 large ships appearing around Mars. They weren't Earth ships. "Sound the alarm," Maria shouted. "Get everyone to the shelters." Sirens blared throughout the colony. People ran toward the underground bunkers built deep beneath the Martian surface. "Incoming transmission," Chris said. The main screen flickered, showing a council commander. His blue skin seemed darker than others they had seen, his 4 arms crossed in front of him. "People of Mars Colony," the alien said coldly. "Your forces at Jupiter have broken the terms of surrender. The Council does not tolerate defiance. This is your punishment." The screen went black. Maria grabbed the communication system. "All defense systems active. This is not a drill." But the colony's defenses were minimal, designed mainly to protect against meteorites, not a war fleet. The Council ships opened fire. Red beams of energy sliced through the thin Martian atmosphere and struck the colony domes. The first dome cracked, then shattered. Thousands of people who hadn't reached shelters were exposed to the Martian environment. They died instantly. "We need to record this," Maria said, fighting back tears. "Earth needs to see what they're doing." She activated all external cameras, streaming the footage to emergency channels. The Council ships continued their attack methodically, destroying dome after dome. Research stations, living quarters, even the medical facilities. Nothing was spared. In the control room, Maria and her team worked desperately to direct people to safety. But the shelters could only hold half the colony's population. "Lieutenant, they're targeting the main oxygen production plant," Chris shouted. Maria closed her eyes briefly. If that was destroyed, even the shelters would eventually run out of air. "Keep broadcasting," she ordered. "Make sure Earth sees everything." The Council ships fired again. The oxygen plant exploded in a ball of fire. More domes collapsed. The attack continued for hours until almost nothing remained of the once thriving colony. When the Council ships finally left, over 80,000 people were dead. Only those in the deepest bunkers had survived. Maria's transmission reached Earth. The footage of the Mars massacre was broadcast to every screen on the planet. People watched in horror as their friends, family members, and fellow humans died under the Council's attack. In the Earth Defense Headquarters, the room was silent as the final images came through. President Howard stood with tears streaming down her face. "They expected us to surrender after this," she said quietly. "They thought this would break us." Admiral Susan Miller nodded grimly. "They don't understand humans at all." The president turned to face the military leaders. "No more holding back. No more defensive positions. I want everything we have thrown at them." General Richard Davis spoke up. "Madam President, we should formally declare war." "War?" President Howard laughed bitterly. "This goes beyond war. The Galactic Council just committed genocide against our people. We won't stop until they no longer exist." The declaration was broadcast across Earth within hours. Every nation, every leader, every citizen united in a single purpose. The Mars massacre had changed everything. Humans would no longer fight just to defend themselves. They would fight to end the Galactic Council forever. In laboratories across the planet, scientists worked frantically. Dr. Noah Thompson had been developing a new weapon that could target the unique energy signature of Council ships. After seeing the Mars footage, he doubled his efforts. "They think they know what humans are capable of," he told his team as they worked through the night. "They have no idea." The weapon was ready within days. the counterattack could begin. Earth's fleet gathered in orbit, larger than before. Every ship was now equipped with Dr. Thompson's new weapon. The crews were silent, focused. The images from Mars were fresh in their minds. This was no longer just a fight for survival. It was a fight for justice. Fleet Admiral Paul Jackson addressed all ships from the Defender. Today we take the fight to the enemy. Earth has been on the defensive long enough. The fleet moved out, not toward the approaching Council Armada, but away from Earth, toward Council territory. Intelligence gathered from the captured ship had given them the locations of several key Council worlds. Captain Ryan Mitchell led a small team of stealth ships on a special mission. Their vessels were painted black, with new technology that absorbed radar and light. They were invisible to most sensors. "Stay in formation," Ryan ordered as they approached a large space station. According to intelligence, this was a major Council communication hub. The 5 stealth ships docked quietly at maintenance ports. Ryan's team, dressed in special suits, entered the station. The Council guards, never expecting an attack this deep in their territory, were caught by surprise. Within an hour, Ryan's team controlled the station. They quickly began downloading data from the central computers. "Look at this," said Lieutenant Tina Bradley, pointing to a screen. "These are coordinates for all major Council facilities, including their headquarters." Ryan smiled. "Download everything. Then plant the devices." His team placed small black boxes throughout the station. They looked harmless, but contained engineer Kevin Phillips' latest creation, a computer virus designed to infiltrate Council networks. As they left the station, Ryan activated the virus remotely. It would spread slowly through Council systems, causing confusion and disrupting communications. Meanwhile, Commander Samantha Russell led a larger fleet in an attack on Council supply lines. Council ships carrying resources between their worlds were ambushed by human vessels. "Target their engines first," Samantha ordered. "We want to capture, not destroy." Her strategy worked perfectly. Within days, 20 Council cargo ships had been captured, their valuable supplies and technology now in human hands. The Council, not used to being attacked, responded slowly and with confusion. Their rigid command structure broke down when communications became unreliable. Ships went missing. Supply depots reported attacks. Council worlds began calling for help, but the Central Command couldn't respond effectively. Admiral Joseph Garcia led the main human fleet toward a key Council colony world. When they arrived, he sent a message to the planet. "People of Zelnar, we are from Earth. The Galactic Council has attacked our world and killed our people. We offer you a choice. Stand with the Council and share their fate, or stand aside." To the humans' surprise, they received a response from the planet's leaders. "We have suffered under Council rule for generations. We will not fight for them." Similar messages were sent to other worlds. Many responded the same way. The Council had ruled through fear, not loyalty. Now that they appeared weak, their empire was crumbling. On the Council homeworld, Supreme Leader Zex Kaltar called an emergency meeting. "How is this possible?" he demanded. "These humans were supposed to be primitive, easy to conquer." His advisors had no answers. Reports from across Council space told the same story. Humans were attacking everywhere at once, using technologies the Council didn't understand. Worse, they were turning Council member species against them. They must have had help. One advisor suggested, perhaps the Archelians. Zex Kaltar slammed all 4 of his hands on the table. "It doesn't matter where they got their technology. Stop them." But it was too late. Kevin Phillips' virus had spread through their entire network. Council ships couldn't communicate properly. Defense systems failed at critical moments. The carefully ordered Galactic Council was falling into chaos. On Earth, President Howard received reports of the successful first strikes. "It's working," Admiral Susan Miller said. "But the Council still has more ships than us. This is just the beginning." The President nodded. "Keep going. Show no mercy." They didn't show any to Mars. The human fleets continued their advance, moving deeper into Council space. For the first time, the Galactic Council felt fear. 3 weeks into the human offensive, the Galactic Council was in chaos. 7 Council member species had openly rebelled, declaring themselves free of Council rule. They formed an alliance with Earth, sharing valuable information about Council defenses and weaknesses. Engineer Laura Wilson monitored the progress of her computer virus from the command center on Earth. Screens displayed the status of Council systems across their territory. Communication networks are down in 3 more sectors, she reported. Their ships can't coordinate with each other. Admiral Susan Miller nodded. Perfect. How long until their defense grid is affected? Already happening, Laura said with a small smile. Council military bases can't talk to each other. Their ships are confused about who to fight and where to go. Across Council space, the once mighty alien fleet was scattered and disorganized. Ships that had been sent to crush Earth were now desperately trying to defend Council worlds from attacks they never expected. Captain Henry Taylor led the assault on the Council's main shipyards at Vega Prime. His fleet of 30 Earth ships faced twice as many Council vessels, but the aliens couldn't coordinate their actions. All ships, engage at will, Henry ordered. Remember your training. Use the Thompson targeting system. Earth ships darted between the larger Council vessels, firing precisely at their weak points. The new weapons, designed specifically to disrupt Council technology, worked even better than expected. Council shields flickered and failed. Their weapons systems shut down unexpectedly. One by one, the massive shipyards were destroyed. Construction platforms that had been building new Council warships were now burning wrecks. Without these facilities, the Council couldn't replace their losses. Meanwhile, Intelligence Officer Diane Pearson made a crucial discovery while analyzing data from the captured communication hub. Admiral, I found something interesting, she told Admiral Miller during an emergency briefing. The Council leadership isn't at their official headquarters. They're hiding on a planet called Sanctus. It's supposed to be a sacred world where no weapons are allowed. President Howard leaned forward. They're hiding on a religious world while ordering the destruction of our colonies. Cowards. It gets worse, Diane continued. According to these records, the Council has done this before. They've wiped out 17 other species over the last 1,000 years, always for the same reason: to take control of valuable resources. The room fell silent as everyone processed this information. The Galactic Council wasn't just their enemy. It was a threat to all developing species in the galaxy. Admiral Joseph Garcia spoke up. We need to end this once and for all, not just for Earth and Mars, but for all the species they've destroyed and all those they would destroy in the future. President Howard nodded. Agreed. How soon can we reach this Sanctus planet? With our current fleet positions, we can assemble a strike force within 5 days, Joseph answered. Do it, the President ordered. But first, broadcast what we've learned to every world in Council space. Let them all know what their leaders have been doing. The evidence of Council atrocities was transmitted across the galaxy. More species rose up in rebellion. The Alliance of Free Species, as it was now called, grew larger each day. On Sanctus, the Council leaders watched in horror as their empire collapsed around them. How did this happen? Supreme Leader Zex Calter demanded. These humans were supposed to be primitive. His chief advisor, Vortek, looked grim. We made a mistake. We judged them by their technology, not their potential. They advance faster than any species we've encountered. They're more creative, more adaptive, and more vicious, another Council member added. They won't stop until we're destroyed. Zex Calter pounded his fist on the table. Then we'll destroy them first. Prepare the Omega Protocol. Vortek looked shocked. The doomsday device. But Supreme Leader, that would kill billions across multiple systems, including our own people. Better that than surrender to these humans, Zex Calter snarled. Begin the preparations immediately. As the Council prepared their final desperate measure, the combined Earth Alliance fleet was already on its way to Sanctus. The final battle was about to begin. The combined Earth Alliance fleet arrived at Sanctus 7 days after leaving Earth. Over 200 ships from 12 different species gathered around the supposedly sacred planet. At the center of the fleet was the Earth flagship Defender, commanded by Admiral Joseph Garcia. "No defense systems detected," reported Lieutenant Amy Wilson. "They really thought no one would attack a sacred world." Joseph nodded. "Open a channel to the surface." On the main screen appeared Supreme Leader Zex Kaltar, his blue skin now pale with fear. "This is Admiral Joseph Garcia of Earth, representing the Alliance of Free Species. Your council has committed crimes against countless beings across the galaxy. Surrender now." Zex Kaltar's expression changed from fear to a strange smile. "Humans, you have fought well, I admit, better than we expected, but this is not over. Look around you," Joseph said firmly. "Your fleet is destroyed. Your member worlds have turned against you. It's over." "No," Zex Kaltar replied. "We still have one option. We offer our unconditional surrender. We will submit to whatever terms you demand." Joseph frowned. The surrender seemed too easy. Intelligence Officer Diane Peterson whispered to him, "Sir, I don't trust this. It could be a trap." Joseph nodded. "Send the ground forces. Tell them to be careful." Major Frank Nelson led the first team to land on Sanctus. The planet's surface was beautiful, covered with gardens and elegant buildings. But Frank's team wasn't there to admire the view. They moved quickly toward the Council's central complex. The Council leaders were waiting for them, sitting calmly in their chamber. "We surrender," Zex Kaltar said again. "We will come with you peacefully." Frank didn't lower his weapon. "Secure the building," he ordered his team. "Search everything." As the human soldiers spread out through the complex, Private John Winters called out from a lower level, "Major, you need to see this." Frank rushed down to find John standing in front of a massive device. It hummed with energy, lights flashing across its surface. "What is it?" Frank asked. Council Records Specialist Sarah Adams checked her tablet. "According to the files we captured, this is the Omega Protocol, a doomsday device. If activated, it would create a quantum explosion that would destroy everything in this system and several nearby systems." Frank stared in horror. They were planning to kill everyone, including themselves. "Better to die than lose power," Sarah said grimly. "The countdown is already running. We have less than 30 minutes. Frank immediately contacted the Defender. "Admiral, we have a situation." As he explained, Engineer Nicole Baker listened carefully. She had been studying Council technology for weeks. "I might be able to disarm it," she said, "but I need to get down there immediately." A shuttle rushed Nicole to the surface. With only 15 minutes remaining, she entered the chamber containing the doomsday device. "Clear the room," she ordered. "If I make a mistake, at least only one of us dies." Working quickly, Nicole examined the device. It was complex, but similar to other Council technology she had studied. She connected her tablet to its control systems. "The problem is the quantum resonance chamber," she explained over the comm. "If I can disrupt the pattern, the reaction will fail." With just 2 minutes left, Nicole made her final adjustments and entered the shutdown code. The device's humming slowed, then stopped. The lights flickered off. "It's done," she reported. "Device disabled." Cheers erupted across the fleet. The Council's final act of desperation had failed. The Council leaders were taken into custody. For the first time in 50,000 years, the Galactic Council no longer ruled the stars. 2 months later, representatives from 37 species gathered on Earth to form a new government. The Galactic Alliance, as it was called, would be based on equality and sovereignty for all members. Ambassador Cynthia Morris, who led the human diplomatic team, stood to address the gathering. "Today marks a new beginning. Not just for humanity, but for all sentient beings in our galaxy. The old council ruled through fear and destruction. Our alliance will rule through cooperation and respect." As she spoke, the former council chamber was being transformed into a memorial for those lost on Mars and all other victims of council aggression. Standing at the back of the room, Commander Jack Murphy watched the proceedings with a smile. It had been a long journey since that first hostile encounter at the edge of the solar system. Humanity had been pushed to the brink of extinction. Instead, they had found their place among the stars. The Galactic Council had crossed the line. Humans had wiped it out, and the galaxy was better for it.